Hi everyone, you're right. This is going to be a different video. I got a call before saying that someone thinks that they saw a swarm coming this way. So I thought, oh dear, it might be my apiary. I've not been here for a week now, so chances are I may have missed a swarm cell. I've not been investigating the frames too much, and it has been really warm this week. So I'm a little bit concerned. Anyway, I've just come and I found this. So I don't know if you can see that, but that is a clump of bees under this hive here. So there's two things that could be. It can be fanning, or it can be a swarm. I'm going to check now. So what I want to have a look for is swarm cells, first of all. Because it could be off or not, really. Could be that they're just fanning, keeping everything cool, because it's very warm at the moment. So it could just be them trying to keep things cool inside the colony. I've got myself a nuke anyway, so yeah, I'm going to transfer them across if it turns out to be a swarm. So first things first, let's get in, see what's going on. So when it comes to inspecting double broods, it's best to inspect the bottom one first. So I'm not going to worry about the swarm at the bottom yet. It does seem to be a big clump under there. And I might have to do some jiggery pokery to make them so they go into a nuke box of mine. But for now, let's check and see what it's looking like inside. So I did a swap of these boxes last week just to try and give them a bit more time before they wanted to swarm, ironically. So I can't see any other blobs of bees under any of the other colonies anywhere, so it seems like this is the only one. Now, looking inside here, this top box, it's got bees in it, but it doesn't look full. So to me that is interesting, because it means that chances are that there's not the actual pressure in here to swarm. Saying that though, I've just lifted that up, and that is absolutely jam-packed with nectar. I don't know if you can see that. So what we're going to do is transfer the box down over here, and we'll look in the bottom box first, see if we can find any swarm cells. If we can find swarm cells, then it means that it's this one that swarmed, and then we can move on from there. That is actually a really heavy box now, so that is absolutely jam-packed with nectar. Interesting. So, okay. So hopefully my smoker won't go out. Right, so, well, what I said, we're looking for swarm cells. So swarm cells are usually on the bottom of the frame. That is a lovely frame of pollen. Amazing. So I'm just going to stick this over here, out of the way. So when I looked in this the other day, it was full of lovely brood, and this is still full of lovely brood. What we're doing is we're also keeping an eye out for the queen. Do you mind not trying to sting me? Thank you. So if we can see the queen, then it means that this is definitely not the colony who swarmed. I'm also just going to do a quick check, make sure that I've zipped this up. Yeah. Another lovely frame of... So I have a feeling it's not this one. I think they've just latched onto the bottom. Let's see. There's certainly enough space. These frames aren't filled up with bees, so something to look for is eggs. Now it looks, if the bees are on the bottom right now, it's chances are that the queen has only just decided that she wants to swarm, or rather they've only just left right now, and they're just congregating before they do their big flight. But to be fair, I'm not seeing any eggs. Right, so when you're looking at your frames, these sorts of frames are ones that you want to look for swarm cells. So the way you look for swarm cells is look into these nooky bits here. Wherever the bees like to nibble is generally a good spot where they have swarm cells. And because they've swarmed, we're looking for a capped cell. I can't see any capped cells. I'm not seeing any queen cups or anything yet either, so I don't think it's this colony that's actually swarmed. Lovely frame of brood. Now I'm not seeing any eggs. So that does point to the fact that they could have swarmed. Lots of nectar in all the cells here. I'm hoping there'll be eggs and the queen in the top box. Let's check that out. Now, because the bees are literally interwoven into this pallet, I'm going to have to do something a bit awkward to try and get them out and try and get them into a nuke box. So what I might have to do is shift these bees onto another floor. And just looking for eggs. So there are eggs here. Lots of eggs. Okay. And there's a frame here that's just got nectar in. Okay. Right, alright, so I've not seen the queen, but I've not seen any swarm cells either, so that's positive. What we're going to do is put the other box on top, and then when I come to getting rid of this swarm and putting it into a nuke, I'm going to transfer both these boxes onto a different floor, a little bit further away, over here somewhere, so I can have access to this floor and what's underneath. And what I'm going to try and do is put something underneath the pallet, if I can, to catch the bees. I don't really have a right lot, so it's going to be interesting figuring something out, but I'll try my best anyway. Right, so next box. Yeah, so this box is very heavy, so I think what I might have to do is give them a super anyway, just to store nectar. Which is mad, really, because it's what, second week in April. Crazy. So fanning. So if this isn't a swarm, it could just be bees on the bottom where the mesh floor is and fanning it to keep it cool. Yeah, this is full of nectar. Full of nectar. Trying to keep it cool and trying to turn the nectar into honey, which means that it opens up more space for them in the comb, because the water will get dried off and it'll get shrunk down into honey. This is impressive. Really impressive. Right. Still can't see any swarm cells, so I'm a little concerned about that. Again, more nectar. So this whole box at the top is full of nectar at the moment. That's crazy. So there's some eggs on this frame, right in the centre there. I haven't seen the queen. That doesn't matter too much, as long as I've not seen any swarm cells. So there was a queen cup there, but that didn't have any eggs in it or anything like that. So I don't think this is actually queenless. Again, there's eggs in this frame as well. I think the queen moved up. Okay. Queen cup at the bottom here, no eggs in it. I don't think they're swarmed. I think this is another swarm that's latched onto the bottom. What I will do though is give these guys some more space. It does mean that I might have to look at the other ones as well, because if this one's filled up, because this was completely empty on, I think it was Monday. So in a week they've filled up a whole brew box in essence. Right, and they've got some empty frames here. Interesting. So what I'm going to do is just to make things a bit better for the queen. I'm going to shift this across over here. And wherever there was brood, I'm going to put these empty frames, and then that means hopefully they'll see this empty space and go, oh, we've got loads of room. But this is interesting though, because I didn't see the queen, but I did see a lot of eggs, which generally means that the queen's still in there, unless she's only just decided to swarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you guys back over here, and we're going to take these boxes off this floor and move them where you guys are currently stood. And then we'll try and get this swarm. So the only floor I have available at the moment is this sweet empty one, so that's a bit annoying, but oh well. It's best to try and keep the floors the same. So when I remove this one, the bees automatically go to this one. But we can only do what we can only do. What are you doing? Found a ratchet strap which I'm not using. Move that over here. Okay, so I'm going to move these boxes across. I'm also going to give them a super as well. So, right. Put this back down there. Because that is now the top box. And I'm going to move this box across. Now you can move colonies within 3 feet of each other, and the bees should relocate quite easily. What I'm going to do is, to make things a little bit easier for them, is this entrance block. I'm just going to lean it against this hive at the front here, just so it looks kind of similar to what they're dealing with. It may fall down, and if it does, then it does. That's there. Watch out, girls. Right. So I want to put this box on top, and I'm going to put a super on as well. Go get super and a queen excluder. Right, so as far as I'm concerned, put this on. Job, girls. We got the way. Put this on, and then the bees should be okay for a little bit. Put this lid on. Even these out. Right, there we are. Put the lid on, all's well. Right, and now I have to collect this swarm. Right, so here's the swarm, and if we go underneath, you can see that it's under there as well. I think this is definitely a swarm that's latched onto this hive for some reason. Not quite sure why. It has definitely latched under. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and transport it into a nucleus box. So this is a Swienti nucleus box that I purchased last year. So what I'm going to do is open up the entrance, facing the same direction, and I'm going to try and pick this up gently and throw it, all the bees, into that box. Now, as you saw underneath here, there was a lot of bees, so I'm going to use the lid of this because it conveniently fits under this pallet. So if any bees fall, hopefully they'll land on this box lid for easy removal. So I'm just going to be very careful and try and get underneath this swarm. Right, so I'll move you here, you can see that swarm is now completely over that lid. So when I take this floor up, if any bees fall, they'll fall into the lid. Right, I'm going to move that there as well. Okay, what's the best place for you guys? There we go. Let's try that. Okay. Are we ready? So we're going to lift it up gently. So there we are. Absolutely jam-packed with bees. I'm going to try and get them to go into the nuke box. So it's always useful in a nuke box if you manage to put a frame of drawn comb in there. It generally helps draw the bees down into that comb. I'm going to give it a few seconds, let them smell the comb. In there is foundation, so when you're picking up a swarm, it's always good to have a full nuke box of foundation, because these bees, before they swarm, they take up lots of nectar, lots of honey in their stomachs, and they fly off to their new forever home. What that means is that any disease that they've got, they will have it in their stomach. So if you just have full comb, they'll then deposit whatever food they don't need into the comb, and it'll possibly spread disease. So by giving them foundation, the bees, swarms are supercharged at making honeycomb. Really, really good. They'll use anything they can in their stomachs to make honeycomb, so they're really supercharged to do it. So giving them foundation means that the bees are more likely to digest that bad bacteria, those diseases, digest them with the honey and the nectar, and draw out the foundation with the wax glands. Right, so I'm going to try and do this without causing too much trouble. Go like that. And because I don't trust myself, there's a piece of plastic here that also comes with these sweet anti-hives. I'm going to put that here just to see if I can catch any by accident. So look at the size of this. This is a prime swarm, as you can see. And they've already started building comb on the bottom. Ah, okay, that's interesting. So I can see some queen cells under here. So it could be that these bees are part of this colony here, and they have run out of space, so they've come out of the entrance. And they have started building comb underneath because they've run out of space. And when they've done that, they realised that they needed to swarm, and now we've got some swarm cells under here. Can you see that there? Now, I can't see any capped swarm cells. So I don't think that these have actually swarmed yet, but they have started making comb like that anyway. Right, I'm going to try and smoke them down a bit. There's a lot of bees to fit in this one nuke, so smoke them down into the colony. I'll try and knock these a bit more in. All the bees in. Flip it over. That honeycomb's come off, so I'm just going to chuck it over into the bag over there. Ugh. Right, so that is the bees off the floor now. So that's all gone. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to focus on the ones that are on the pallets here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get all the bees on the other side of the pallet, and then I'm going to try and scrape them off. So smoke, 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 smoke. Yeah, so I think that this isn't actually a swarm. I think that this is probably the bees have run out of space, so they've gone to the bottom of the floor, which doesn't happen very often, but clearly it seems to have happened here. So right, now I'm going to scrape them from underneath onto the floor, well, rather the roof of that nuke, and hopefully the queen is here somewhere. It's always good to keep your eye open in case you can see the queen. I can't see her. Now I'm a little concerned because it looks like the bees are going to the floor of this one now. So what we'll do is we'll just move this back here, tap some more of these bees out, and come back for them. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but the bees are actually making their way into the nuke. If you can see that. So, bees there, bees around here, they've got the bums in the air and they're fanning the Nasanov gland. So what that means is that they're alerting the other bees that we found a new home. So you'll see that bees are slowly making their way in now. So I'm going to help them on the way with a bit of smoke. Hopefully that is us done, really. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this nuke box in the same place as the floor. Then any bees that have been flying around will find this nuke box and make their way in. There's an entrance down this gap as well, so if they fall off then they can get back in, and I can see some of them fanning at that entrance as well. Right, so what I'm going to do is, because I think all the bees have pretty much fallen off the bottom of the pallet, I'm going to take this lid out and I'm just going to rest the lid at a jaunty angle here. It means any bees flying about can get in still, and it means that they've got a roof over their heads, which will encourage them more to stay in. So what I'm going to do is gently pull this out, because I think there's actually a bit of a blob of bees there. So I'm going to have to move this box completely out of the way, which is annoying, but so be it. So, just because I don't want to squish any bees, I'm just going to bring this down here at a jaunty angle. Can you see that? So it's got 4 points of ingress, and I'm just going to find a corner where there's no bees, and then slowly do little vibrations until another one's down, and then vibrations until the last one is down and there's no bees underneath that lid squished. And I'm going to move this a little bit closer, just so any bees that are a bit struggling a bit, like over there, they will know that this is their new home. You can already see that the bees are doing some orientation flights to it as well. So I think the bees have already made this their home. I won't know until later on. So I'm going to leave them now just for a little bit while I just do a quick check of the other hives, just make sure that there's no swarm cells obvious, and then we'll move on. So I'm choosing to believe that these ones haven't swarmed yet. I don't think this one will have, because it was quite weak last time I checked. Things might have changed in the week that I've been here. So this is an interesting thing. Where's my hive go? There. So this is interesting in that they've started building comb in the crown board through the gap. So that means to me that they have filled up with nectar. And it looks that way as well. So that is a very full super. So as you can see, lots of fresh comb. It's full of honey and nectar. Look at that. There. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count that this is just full of honey or nectar. I'm going to break this off and then I'm going to put, oh, that's very heavy. I'm going to do a quick check of here, see if there's any brood. I can already see some larvae, so that's good, but I want to see some eggs. I'm going to check, make sure I can see eggs, make sure there's no obvious swarm cells, and then I'm going to move on. And put another super on. So these have got a completely empty frame there. That's nectar. And there's eggs on here. Lots of eggs. So that means that the queen has been on here and it's full of brood. So it means the queen has moved down now. Let's have a look at the other one. I can see some cat brood on here. I think it's drone brood mostly. So we've got a healthy mix of drone and cat worker brood. I'm just having a quick look, seeing if I can see any swarm cells. So swarm cells are vertical cells. So these are horizontal to the frame. They go out like that. Swarm cells face downwards like that. There's lots of eggs. So I don't think these guys have swarmed. So what am I going to do if I find the colony that has swarmed? So if I see swarm cells, what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock them all down apart from the best one. Swarm cells are a really good time to do splits as well. So if you have a strong colony, which is obviously strong enough to swarm, it's good to split that colony in half if you want to increase numbers. So if you want to say have 2 hives rather than just the one, because let's say the one that's swarming is the one that you have, so you only have 1 hive, it's a great time to take half the brood, half the food, go away, and make another new cup. There are a lot of drones at the moment, which I'm really surprised about. I tend to only see drones around early May, or at least ones that are old enough to actually go and mate with the queen, but these ones all seem to be quite old, so I think maybe the breeding season has started very early this year, which is interesting. Well, it's interesting for me anyway. Might not be for you. So I've not seen any queen cells whatsoever. I've not seen the queen, but that doesn't matter. I've seen lots of eggs, lots of brood. Again, I'm not particularly looking for the queen. It's queen cells that I'm looking for, and I can't see any there. So generally, don't hold me to this, but generally, if you go through half the hive and you don't see queen cells, then there is a good chance that there's no queen cells everywhere else, because when they're doing swarm cells, they go hell for leather, really. It's only super seeger cells that they don't go crazy for. So I'm just budge this across. Come on. I really need to do full inspections on these guys, but I just don't have the time today. Put you in. So what I'm going to do is give these guys another super. Smoke them down because you don't want to hurt anybody. Any bits of burr comb that's sticking out like that, just take them off, because you don't want to squish anyone on the underside of the box. So we'll get rid of them. Put this on. Right. Time for a queen excluder and another honey super. Right. So what you shouldn't do really is smoke a honey super, but seeing as I want to keep this one as partially a brood box, I'm not too fussed. Any honey that is in this may have some that's contaminated with winter feed, so I don't really want to keep this for myself. What I will do is I will give it to nucleus colonies as a food source, so I don't have to feed them. Lower this down. Ciao, girls. And then put this on top. And down we go. Okay, so when you're doing super frames, let's see if I can get you closer. So it's not always amazing to put 11 frames in. You can fit 11 frames in this super, but you can get away with not doing that. Any that have holes in like that, you want them butted up against full frames, so either side, so they don't start building comb across. But other than that, you can give them quite a lot of space in between the supers, and what they'll do is they'll draw out the comb that wide. So I'm going to keep these close up just because there's holes in the middle. I'm going to evenly space these out. Right. Put this in. Check for the queen. Can't see the queen. Close it up. Right, next one. So I can't imagine this one has swarmed, and I'll be really disappointed if it is, because this is my breeder queen for this year. It wasn't particularly strong last time I came in here, so if the bees have swarmed, it could be a sign that something's wrong. Now, what I can see is that they have already collected some honey. Look at that. So they've turned the nectar here, and it started to turn into honey at the top there. So that's good. What I will do though is I'll check the bottom box first. Another quick way of seeing if you can see swarm cells, because swarm cells are usually at the bottom of the frame, they're at the side. Another quick way of seeing if you can see any is by flipping it up. So what you can do is you can look under the frames here. So by lifting up here, you can see into the bottom, and all you need to do is just sort of nudge it apart like that with your hive tool. And usually if there's swarm cells, you'll see them along the bottom here. And I can't see any at the moment, so that's good. They'd look like little fingers peering down. I can't see any there. I can also see that there's lots of brood in here. So that is a whole frame of brood, that's a whole frame of brood, that's a whole frame of brood, as is that one and that one. So I'm going to check this bottom box, because I can't really do the whole lifty thing with that. Again, I don't think this colony is swarmed, because I don't think the colony is big enough for the box it's in. But we'll have a look. So they're not even filling these frames here with honey yet. So I don't think that there's been pressure to push the bees down. There's a little bit of nectar in that one. And that one, there's a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's a lot. Yeah, so there's a few cells of nectar, so I don't think this colony is swarmed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this box back on top, like so, and I'm going to put a queen excluder and a super on top as well, just to give them a little bit more room, even though I don't think they particularly need it. So I'm putting the super on, try and keep the frames going the same direction. As I said before, this has got no holes in, so I can separate this out, space it out evenly like so. And the bees should draw out the comb a bit easier. Let's leave that lid on. I have to hurry up with the next ones. So this nuke might be the one that's swarmed, because it was quite strong last time I came, and they seem to have built in the roof again. Right. I don't have time to deal with this right now. So what I'm going to do is just going to put it back. So everywhere is running out of space extremely quickly, which is crap, because I don't have space to give. I'll have a look at this one as well. This one was really bad last week, but I changed that. So the bees haven't built up out of it, but they are in the top box now, so that's good. I don't think it was them. I think this could be the contender, but I don't have the time to go through that right now. Most important thing is to stop the swarm from flying off, which is what I've done. This has also been built in the roof as well. This colony really needs to go into a hive, so I'll do that soon, probably this weekend. This one hasn't built up into the roof yet, but they are filling both boxes. So, yeah, that's interesting. I think this colony was dying last time I came and look at it. I can't remember if it's this one. So you can't see this from where you are, but they are really full on this side. On this side, there are lots of empty frames, so they're not filling the box yet. So I'm not worried about these guys yet. What I might do, just to slow the swarm impulse, is put some empty frames in between the frames that they are using, just to make them realise that there's space. It's kind of similar to the checkerboarding technique. I think I've shown that before. It just gives the bees a bit more space than they were realising they had. That. These guys are definitely collecting nectar and honey because I can smell it, and it smells absolutely beautiful. It smells so good. If there's anything in the world that'll get you to become a beekeeper, I would say the smell of beekeeping is just the best. You cannot beat it, right? Because they've got space, I'm not going to give them a super yet. So, just going to put this lid on and call it quits there for that one. Again, I'm dealing with the time frame here. If it was you, I would suggest going through every hive. I'm just going off what my feelings are. I don't think this colony is swarmed, so I don't think they need my attention right now. I need to find the one that's swarmed, just so I can try and knock down some swarm cells. If I don't find it, then I don't find it. It could be a wild one. Who knows? My theory is still that it was that hive, the original one that they were underneath. They run out of space, so they started moving down beneath the floor, and then they realised, right, I think we need to swarm. So we'll see. This is the imported queen. She did absolutely nothing last year, but it feels like, yeah, so they have drawn out comb in the roof. This needs to go in a hive this year, I think. Okay, just gently put it on. I don't have the time to do it right now, and doing that is an absolute nightmare, so I'm not going to risk it. Just going to leave it for now until this weekend when I've got more time. I gave these guys more space last week. Let's see where they are, and they've gone all the way up through here and into the roof again. So these guys are really productive. It's going to be hard to keep a hold on them. They're definitely going to my production hive this year. Right, so I shrank this down last week because there wasn't that many bees. I think there was like 4 seams of bees for this. So I'm going to have a quick look inside. I very much doubt it's these guys that have swarmed. But if they need more space, I'll give them more space. Yeah, so these guys are still on a very minimal amount of seams. They have increased, so that's good. The shrinking of the space has helped them. But they are not the culprits. So I transferred this double nuke, because it was in the same one like that, into a hive. Now this is very heavy roof, and it's very rare that bees build into these roofs, because usually they're quite high up. But look at that. That means that this colony is in desperate need of space. I'm just seeing if I can see any queen cells in the cells here. Because where you get wild comb is generally the spot where the bees like to create their queen cells. It's interesting though, isn't it? It looks like a weird squid. Right. I'm going to have to give these guys space because they are filling that roof. So the good news is that I'm going to have lots of wax to make candles and stuff with this year. Tap these out. So I'm going to smoke these down, get rid of that burr comb, and put a super on top, or another brood box. I'm not decided. Probably another brood box. Smoke. So we want to get rid of all this comb here, because if there are any bees anywhere, they will get hurt by that. So okay. Right, I think that's it. So I'm going to put this new brood box. So I'm going to put a fresh brood box on top. Not a particularly nice looking brood box, but the comb is drawn out. So the bees will clean the comb up, and then hopefully start putting nectar or honey in it. Right, so when you're putting these lids back on, always be very careful, because there could be the queen in this top box here. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure if the queen's in there, she shouldn't get hurt, I'm going to tap these into the new box. So turn it like that. And we're going to tap like so. Let's get rid of that. Just move this out of the way. And then I'm going to put this here and tap it. So the majority of the bees have fallen out now. Let's smoke them down, put the crown board on. Come on, girls, down you go. Try not to hurt anyone. These guys are precious to us. I'm seeing if I could see the queen, but I can't. Right, put this back on and we'll deal with that over the weekend. We're doing a lot of cleaning this weekend. That's going to be fun. Ooh, done. Have a quick look at this. So this wasn't doing too well last time I came and looking at it, but it feels like, yep, the building in the roof. So these guys are doing well. These guys might need to go into a full-size hive as well, which is not good. Right, nice and quick. These guys were quite weak, so I'm not too worried about these guys swarming. Whoa. Yep, they are not even filling the top box, so they don't need anything yet. Remember, adding too much space can sometimes hinder you. So you have to try and be a bit smart with it. If the bees don't need that space, if they've still got half a box, then don't give them the space. These were quite industrious last time I looked, so these guys might need a new box. Yeah, so these guys feel like, yep, they're in the roof as well. Okay, so fortunately I think I've caught it early. Move it there. Let's move this across. Whoop. There we go. Right. So I'm going to smoke these down, get rid of that, and give them probably another brood box actually. Or should I go with super? I'll go with the super, why not? Right, I've gone against what I've decided. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to get some comb drawn out by these guys. So spring honey doesn't seem to sell very well where I am. So collecting supers of honey, which sounds great, but when you've got honey that you can't sell, it just takes up space and crystallizes, and yeah, it's a bit of a pig. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use the spring flow to generate more comb. So how I do that is this. Put a fresh brood box on top and put half drawn out comb like that and half foundation frames. And if you checkerboard them, which I think I've shown before, like that, it helps the bees draw it out faster. Now, when you're doing this, it's always useful to take note of what age your frames are. So I'm going to put 25 for this year. Oh yeah. So I'm going to be getting rid of a load of frames this year. Oh, so it's really useful to have a date on your frame, so you know how old they are. You know which ones to get rid of. Right, so same again as I did before. Take this off. Try and get rid of any bees that are on there, just in case the queen's up there, because you don't want it to get lost or get hurt. Okay, get rid of that. There we are, done. So these bees will go up into that top box now and draw out those frames for me, I hope. So if you don't mind not getting honey for the first flow of the year, then it is actually a good time of year to get your frames cleaned up if, say, they're a bit mossy or gross. And it's also good for drawing out new foundation as well. So right, next ones. Right. Again, I don't think these are all swarmed, so I might just have to give them some space. Call it quits. So they don't seem to be building in the roof. So they're not using these frames here, but there's only 3 frames left, so I am going to give them a super just so they can keep going. There we go. Whoa. These were quite small last time I looked, so we'll see how these are doing. Yeah, I'll fill in that space. I'll give them another brood box. I think this is the original brood box that they had before winter. It's like going back home, I guess. My production apiary is nearly finished, so hopefully I'll be able to take these there. I'll have a bit more space at this apiary. Oh yeah, there we are. Right, last one here. And then we'll have a look at that nuke and then we'll call it quits. Right, so yeah, they are filling that box at the top. Just have a quick look at the bottom. Filling the box at the bottom. I'm going to give them a super. Oh, another brood box. Should I give them another brood box? Let's give them another brood box. Let's be cheeky. So before I move these colonies to the new home at the production apiary, I'm going to take some splits from them. So I can do some queen rearing. That should knock them down a bit, so they can fit in just 2 boxes, especially if they're on 3. And should make transporting a bit easier. Again, it's great having massive colonies all the way through the year, but sometimes it's good to just knock them down a little bit so they don't go too crazy. Right, let's go have a look at the swarm now. Right, as you can see, the swarm has definitely moved from this area over here into this box. So what my job is now is to try and consolidate and get everyone inside that box and put the lid on. So what I've done is I've put the nuke box back, I've put the lid on, and I've orientated this way so the bees are finding their way in. So that swarm is now captured. Cool. Right, I'm going home. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, I want to see more, or you want to see some of my long form videos where I go through each and every single one of my hives, and I did that through all of last year and I will be doing it all this year, then please go onto my channel and have a look through my playlists. I would very much appreciate it if you hit the like button, and if you wanted to share it, amazing. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye bye.